will call to order the August 6, 2014 Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. It is now 6:10 p.m. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, it stands as presented. I'm going to not read the statement of duties in the interest of time. Have I a motion to approve the minutes from the May 7th meeting?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Reichel?
Yes.
Beck?
Yes.
Puslides?
Yes.
McVeigh?
Yes.
Sutton?
Yes. There is no unfinished business. New business before this body is as follows. Appeal number 1232-14. Applicant Zaremba Program Development LLC, 14600 Detroit Avenue, Suite 1500, Lakewood, Ohio, 44107, and owner Thomas and Sally Reasoner, 2681 Easton Street Northeast, Canton, Ohio, 44721. Request the following to construct a 70-foot by 130-foot new commercial construction on the property located at 2681 Easton Street Northeast, parcel number 52-17571. 2,389 square foot retail space variance, 5,000 square foot permitted, 7,389 square foot requested, 19.80 foot side yard setback, 25 feet required, 5.2 feet requested. Article 7, Section 712.2, Uses, Section A, Permitted Uses. Article 7, Section 712.3 and 712.4, Lot Requirements and Yard Requirements. The property is zoned B1 Neighborhood Business District and is located in the southeast quarter of Section 11. I will now read the fire department comments into the record. This is from Troy A. Slaglaw, Captain, Division of Inspections and Investigations. The distance to the nearest building is outside the minimum distance and will not create a hazard based upon the measurement in the site plan. The request for a variance has been reviewed and there are no recommendations or suggestions regarding the appeal. Okay, we have a sign-up sheet at the podium. We will begin with the applicant, and you need to sign and then state your name and address, and I will administer the oath before you begin your discussion.
My name is Gary Bialis, with Zaremba Group. Our address is 14600 Detroit Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the information you are about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you. Did you sign?
Yeah, I like to print my name. You want me to sign my name?
Printing's better.
You can read it that way.
I reprint it, so it's even better. Okay. Well, I'm here to present the Dollar General project, which we're looking at. We are a developer for Dollar General. We do a lot of them all over the country. A lot of Dollar Generals you see and the one across the street are a little different in the way Dollar General will actually own this building. Typically, 95% of the buildings that Dollar General are in, they don't own. They're just a tenant. So it's a little different. They have some requirements because they own it and they have to maintain it. A lot of the other buildings are owned and maintained by shopping center, developer, strip centers, whatever it is. But there's a number that they now own. They own about 5% of the new projects that they do. 95 still aren't owned by Dollar General. They're just leasing it and run by Dollar General. So it's a little different here. We do the legwork for them. We find the property. We go through the approval process, we build it for them, and they will own it. We never take actual physical ownership of the land. We'll transfer to them, they'll buy it in their name. Okay, just I want to clarify so you understand what we do and that Dollar General will be owning this project. Okay. I'd like to talk the plan here. Should I just bring the plan here or just talk to it? Over, can you hear me if I go over here? Or no?
Go ahead.
This depicts our property, which is this line here. What we have here is it's a set piece of property. We're not dividing it, we're not subdividing it from anything. It's there today. So we're taking that existing property and trying to reutilize it for Dollar General. The property to the, I guess it's to the east, is zone B1, and it's a business. And then the property to the west is B2. So it is zone B2, but it's actually a non-conforming use now. I'm not sure, it's a house. So it is B2, someday it could be business because it's allowed. Okay. We have one entrance on the street, as you can see in the front. The way this plan is laid out is the entrance to the building is at the corner of the building. So there's parking in front and on the sides. We're trying to keep the parking as close to the building as possible. As you see on this, the property is not very wide. So by the time you put in some parking on the side, a sidewalk, and some landscaping, it's hard to move this property off with a required 25 feet off the property line. Now, the code for landscaping or paving is 5 feet. So on this side of the property, we're fine if we meet the requirement. We're also fine here, at this point, and here, because we meet the requirements for code. Where we are asking for that variance is in this area right here, the building itself. The other thing is we are asking for a variance to size, even though we support the parking okay. Dollar General does have a newer building they want to build. It's a lot different than their old building across the street. I mean, they carry, they have coolers, I don't know how many coolers they have over there, because they do have food at this building, whether it's milk, eggs, cheese. It's their new, not new concept, it's been around since like 2013, early 2013 they introduced this new concept. So all the new buildings, this is the building they use. They have one larger, but that wouldn't work fit at all. So that's why we're requesting the variance for size. It's hard to get everything they want in their building and be competitive without going to the new building. The site where they're at now is just kind of not a great location. It's buried. It doesn't lay out the way they want it to lay out. The aisles are, it's just narrow. So they really want to make this a better project by going over here. We did look at a couple, well, let me continue on. They do get deliveries. They get their own delivery truck, which is a Dollar General truck. That comes once a week. Okay? And they can kind of tell when that truck comes because it's owned by Dollar General. The other deliveries they do get, they might get more perishables like milk or eggs or cheese. Those don't come on the Dollar General truck. It's a small, it's more smaller, like small truck. Those deliveries are typically, the smaller ones may go through the front door. They also have delivery doors in the back here. The big truck will come in, and it's set up that the truck comes like this, and then kind of comes right here, and it will back up to the delivery doors in the back, and that's where deliveries come. So that is where the deliveries are on. Also, they do have dumpsters that will get picked up. It could be once a week. It's really just mainly cardboard products because they don't selling perishable goods inside. And that is also, they can control timing on that. To let you know, we did look at 2 site plans for this. We only submitted this one. We thought it was the best, and I'll tell you why. You show a building here. We knew there, right now there's a residence here, even though it's only B2. And we said, okay, what would be best for both sides of the property? We looked here and we said, if I flip this now entrance, this parking, this whole field here is now right along down the property line. We didn't think that's the best thing, so we actually put it this way. If we would flip it, we have no variance on this side. The variance switches to this side. It's 20 feet on 25 on this side and 25 feet on that side for building. So when you look at the site, I couldn't build here for building, I couldn't be here for building, so I'd have to go right in the middle, almost the site. And then it'd be hard to, you couldn't get parking in it because you wouldn't have enough room for aisles of parking on the site. So it really becomes a difficult site, and that's one of the issues we're having with the square footage size and even the setback size. We thought this was better. I can tell you why. I mean, I told you why, but another thing to know on this building, typically this building is 14 feet high along the side here. In this case, the way the grades, and Mike's here to talk about drainage and grading, what you want, but I'll talk a little about grades. This site is lower than this site by about 2 feet, is where we're showing. So our finished floor here is 2 feet lower than this. We make it up in our building, actually. This wall here will be kind of almost retaining wall. If you're standing there, you won't even know it. You'll see a green space here, and it'll come to our building. What you won't realize is 2 feet down is our building footprint. So it makes look building 2 feet lower. I wanted to submit something. And we've done a lot of buildings, and I wanted to show you this perspective. If we left it on this side, what it would look like. So let me present. This is site actually, it's fortunately Pennsylvania, but it's this very similar situation as we're going to see here. What this shows is the site. This building is about 7 feet off the property line. This one is 5.9. Sorry, 5.2. So it is back about another foot. This fence is a 6-foot high fence that we propose here, but this building is 14 foot high because that's the typical. Appearance-wise, this building will look 2 feet shorter. So you'll probably, in everything's perspective, you will see instead of, it'll be 6 feet of building above wall, the fence. This fence is 6, so it's 6 and 6. But this looks a little different because you're back perspective-wise. But that is very similar to the situation here. Now, if I flipped it again, that would be the situation here against this building. So just wanted to give you a perspective of what you see from one side to the other side. And on this site, we propose a fence to come down about this far and go back all the way this far. It's shown here. Just to, even though it's not, I don't know if it's required by your code since it's B1, B2, but we would still usually bring it down so to try to shield anything on this property. If a car was coming in here, parking, the lights would all be blocked by the fence up front here. Same thing here, anywhere that a truck could possibly come, it would be shielded here. So we took all this into consideration. We still think this is the best plan for this location instead of flipping it. Mike, I don't know if you want to talk about drainage or utilities so they understand how we're servicing the property.
Before we move on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So does anyone on the board have any questions for this gentleman? Okay.
Sorry. I'm available for questions anytime.
You need to sign in and state your name and address.
Michael Woldwin Engineering Group, address is 4216 Carb Industrial Parkway. That's Kent, 44240.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the information you are about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief? Thank you.
Good evening. I'll just hit some of the high points on the grading and the utilities, just to give you a little bit of background on how we laid it out and to explain some of the thinking we've put into it, and then I can answer any more specific questions you have. Again, the building is located on the west side of the site. To deal with drainage, when the stormwater is generally coming in this direction, we're intercepting it in catch basins back in the asphalt areas here, as well as in the drive areas here, and as well as a few catch basins in the front. So we're intercepting all the water coming off the pavement surface all the asphalt is draining back in, so we're capturing all the stormwater runoff, both landing on our site as well as draining onto our site. Once it enters the catch basin system, we are draining it into a 30-inch storm sewer pipe system, perforated pipes. So we're using that to detain and hold back the stormwater. It's then controlled by an outlet structure here in the entrance drive, which we then discharge into the storm sewer system in Easton. This is the same type of system we've used on many other projects in Stark County. Joe Underwood at Regional Planning as well as these type of systems, as well as Stark Soil and Water. So I'm more than confident that this is the type of system that they like to see. And again, we're not discharging any water off-site, which I really think is a good thing. Other basic services, we have a sanitary sewer lateral coming out of the building here. Water service is coming off this corner here. The general concept of grading, and Gary touched on this briefly, but we'll have a retaining wall along here, along the left side, that comes down and actually wraps around the front of the building a little bit. This retaining wall will be about 2 feet, maybe 2.5 feet, some locations here high, which means the building is set down lower. We'll catch water then coming this way into a swale in that area between the fence and the building to drain that water away. We also have a retaining wall from this point on the north side, about the new point, down and along the east side about halfway, just because of the way the grading drops off there. So all that asphalt will then drain back into these catch basins here as well. So again, we're not discharging any stormwater off the site. Even the majority of the water coming off the apron we're catching and collecting. So really from a capturing stormwater standpoint, this is a pretty prototype site that really works out well. This plan also shows some of the landscaping. We're showing landscaping on the western side of the parking area here, as well as in the island here, here in the front, around the side, as well as on the sides here. So again, that's just a real basic run around on the utilities and the grading, and if you have any more specific questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the appeal? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the appeal?
Good evening. I'm Attorney John Jorgensen. I'm here for Mr. Reesner. I've already signed.
Okay.
You don't need to sign yet. Or you don't need to swear me. I'm always on the road.
Can I have your address, please?
Yes, 6545 Market Avenue North.
Thank you.
Same spot. You should know it by heart. Well, gentlemen, you've already heard enough, I think, to deny the application. Because the two words that neither of these gentlemen said through their entire presentation was practical difficulty. I don't need to tell you, but I'll say it for the record anyway. As you guys well know, you're required by law to find a practical difficulty associated with the land in order to grant the variance. And they have not presented any practical difficulty. What we've heard is that we need to do this and we need to do that because of the site. But the bottom line is that the problem, the predicament that these gentlemen find themselves in is solely of their own causing. And that does not constitute practical difficulty. Practical difficulty is an irregularly shaped lot or an abnormally steep grade down the back of your yard or a 150-year-old oak tree that we don't want to rip through. This is simply a common case of overbuilding on the property. I was your counterpart in Jackson Township for over 6 years, and I can't tell you how many times we had similar applicants come before us and ask for the same thing. They simply want to overbuild on the property. There's not enough land there. This is the spot they want. There's not enough land, so we're going to come to you and ask you guys to fix it for us. We're going to ask you to ignore the law, ignore the duly enacted resolutions of the township, and simply we're going to stick this building on this piece of property. When we look at the standards that, again, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with from the Duncan case, probably the most famous court case in Ohio when it comes to zoning. The Ohio Supreme Court has listed several factors that you have to take into consideration when determining whether or not there's a practical difficulty. Whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. Well, yes, there can be. You simply build a smaller building that complies with zoning. There's any number of businesses that can be put on this lot that will comply with your zoning requirements. Whether the variance is substantial It is very substantial. They're asking for a nearly 80% variance. All right, they're asking for, out of the 25-foot setback, they want to get rid of 20 feet, 80%. All right, we're not dealing with 5, 7 feet here. We're dealing with 80%. Not to mention the fact that they want to not only do they want to overbuild on the property by cutting into the setbacks, but they also want to build a much larger building than you allow in this zoning district, by almost 50%. You have a requirement of 5,000 square feet. They want to build one close to 7,500 square feet. That is 50% larger. So they want an 80% variance on the setback, and they want a 50% variance on the size of the building. Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of government services, what my client will tell you is that with his shed and his, what else do you have back there? The shed and my home. And your home, there you go, that's good enough. His home, again, there's only going to be 5 feet setback and about 10 feet between the yard and his shed, which is not enough room. If there's a fire in the back of that building, not enough room for a fire truck to get back there. Whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than a variance. Well, it can by building a smaller building, but they don't want to do that because that costs them money. They make less money on it. Whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, they absolutely did, or they're about to. I'm not even sure if they actually own it yet or not. But they're about to buy the property with full knowledge of what their requirement is. But again, what this boils down to is a question of whether or not you gentlemen are going to follow the law, follow what is required of them to show what they need to show for a variance, or if we're simply going to get into another commercial entity that simply wants to overbuild on a piece of property in Jackson Township, because this is where they deemed it proper to put the building, irregardless of what else is in, whether it's the character of the neighborhood or the other requirements that are in the zone. So unless and until the applicant can show some sort of practical difficulty associated with this property that is not of their own doing, then there's absolutely no way that this variance should be granted. Thank you.
Does anyone on the board have any questions? Anyone else to speak in opposition to the appeal? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Dean Ross, 2715 Easton.
Do you swear or affirm that the information you are about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Well, on the statement that they claim that that's the best site to build a Dollar General, that's a lie. They're both lying to you. And the reason I know that, because I've dealt with them, because they tried to buy my property. They also tried to buy, this property, they tried to buy this property, and then they went over here, and I'm not sure who actually owns this property, if it's this well guy here, or I thought that was his property too. So anyway, they originally was going to go to the dry cleaner's place, and they did soil samples, and they found out there was contaminations in that soil, which I think the township should do something to that effect, because that place has been sitting empty. If there's contamination in the soil, that's going in our drinking water. Now, everybody on the board may not live right here, but anybody that lives in this area, if it's contaminated, then whatever the government or whatever should come in and make this guy that owns that dry cleaning place get the soil out of there. It's sitting empty. It's an eyesore for the township. So why are you letting it sit there empty? And last time I saw it, somebody painted car wash or something on the side of it, and that didn't work out there, there either. So then they went over and tried to buy the next property, and then they tried to buy both properties, and it wasn't big enough for their likings for the Dollar General. So they came to me, tried to over here. I'm in this building, way bigger, exactly what they need to build this site. They can't build here because this is all runoff from my building in water, and this is a floodplain. Same time, they say this is the best spot. Like once again, I said they're lying. because it wasn't the best spot. That's just whatever their shady deals that they tried to make and whatever they were trying to get this property cheap. Now this property, where this house is, the guy here built a parking lot there in the back, and it's like this. And then it slopes down a little bit in the yard, then when it comes to my property, it slopes down again. So I'm already occurring a little bit of wet dampness and stuff in here already. So when they build this parking lot and move the soil around and stuff, even if they put 20 drains in there, there's still going to be water coming off that parking lot. Unless they're going to put a solid wall there to keep the water from rushing in, it will still get wet in my property and cause me wet damage through here. And there's no way I'm going to have a warehouse with wet damage in there because the Dollar General wants to put a building here that they say that is the best spot. It isn't the best spot. The best spot is over here in the corner where it's at, and probably if you measure their footage and compare it to this footage, there's not that big a difference what they're trying to weasel through here. So, you know, and all these big trucks coming in and out of here, they don't have little Dollar General trucks. It's big semi-trucks. And all the big Pepsi trucks. So you're going to have this street, if you do the count, there's a lot of traffic going up and down the street. So you have a big semi trying to back in here and coming out. You have all this traffic coming in here. I think it's going to be a big problem, on top of all the wetness in the water drainage. Also, with this whole shopping center, it's been sitting empty for I don't know how many years now, 10? So you're going to let a store pull out of there, but there's only a couple stores over there. Build over here, it doesn't make any sense. You should concentrate. If you have key stores over there, that's going to bring other stores. Once that store comes out of there, you're going to have more gambling stores and more shady little outfits over there. And the buildings are going to be, they're already falling apart. And it's an eyesore. And I don't think you want more of an eyesore around Plain Township. That's the big eyesore. And then the apartments back here is a big eyesore. So, also when they say about the dumpsters, where exactly are they going to put the dumpsters? You know, in trash pickup, you're going to have a big trash dumpster. Now, how big is this dumpster they're going to put in here? It's going to be, you know, it's real tight. And they say they're going to put a wall or landscaping. I mean, that's right on my fence line. I mean, my fence is right on the line as it is. Now, I didn't put the fence there. That was with the previous owner, and that was an agreement ahead of time that they had all surveyed. So my fence is right on the line, or give or take like an inch. So that's my whole take on this whole thing. Like I said, this property is like this, and then it goes like this, and then my property. So where do you think all that water is going to go when we get a rain? Especially like we just had all this rain this year. You know, I think that would be a big mistake on your part as trustees to let something go over here. And like I said, they already tried to buy all these properties. So when they, once again, when they said and come on oath and said this was their prime spot, they're lying. So if they're lying about that, what else are they lying to? They're trying to slide this through. They're going to say, oh yeah, we'll put the range here and that. You don't know until it happens. So once it happens, then what are we going to do about my situation? I already spoke to my lawyer. He said, come and see what they have to see proof, blueprints. I haven't seen any of this stuff. You know, all this stuff. You know, if they send me a registered letter to come to a meeting and speak out on my behalf, I should be informed exactly what they're going to be building because it's going to affect me. You know, if this guy across the street wants to have a Dollar General in his backyard when he comes out every day, that's go for it. That's not my business. But I'm not going to come out here and have Dollar General flooding me out. I mean, the prime spot, if any of these lands was going to put a Dollar General, would be this spot. But I'm not selling this to them. So, you know, That's the situation. Like I said, if you go over to Dollar General over here, it's just trashy, they don't keep it up as it is, so you know, there's gonna be people coming in here, in and out, trash is gonna be on my fence. I already have that trouble now because of McDonald's and because of the neighbor. They don't take care of their yard. So are they gonna take care and manicure this? At first they might, but they're not gonna keep this all looking nice. It's gonna be, just if you go over right now, you'll see piles of leaves in the corner, carts all over the place. Where's gonna get, where these cars gonna come out on the street or be all around here? Is this gonna look junky? I mean, keep it all houses here, and that should be what should be the concentration over there. That's all I have to say about that.
Has anyone on the board any questions for this gentleman?
Yes, I do. What is your business in that building? What do you do?
I do decorations and weddings, and I have props, stuff like that. So it's all, I've already had some water damage over there. When we got all this.
That's okay, I just wonder what you actually do. So you have party supplies, is that basically it? Or?
I do parties and events and electrical and concerts and stuff like that.
In that warehouse?
Not in the warehouse, that's where I store my equipment.
So it's essentially a storage facility?
It's yes, a bit.
I mean, for your stuff?
Yeah, offices and stuff. And that was, language again. At one time, I asked if I could build back, add on to the building, and I was told no, I could not. And I never came in here and have a meeting like this, but I called to inquire and said I had to be 25 feet off and I couldn't be close to this apartment complex. And then that's another thing. If you look back here, there's piles of junk and stuff back here on this thing. That's another matter. But you know what I'm saying? There's already issues here, and they're all the way back here to the back like that. I can't see anything good coming out of it.
But those issues have nothing to do with Dollar General.
Correct. But the issue is, though, I was told you could not build so many feet from these apartment complexes. That's what was told to me. So I don't know if I was giving bad information, but I wanted to extend or build a building right back here, you know, like 5 to 10 feet off the fence, coming back this way, like just like a shed, I could put some vehicles in there.
Okay, well, that's not germane to this discussion here.
But all I'm saying is, I'm a working man that gets up at 8 and works until like midnight every day, and you have these fast talkers coming here at Dollar General saying, this is my prime spot.
Let's not be throwing
Well, they're
aspersions toward other individuals.
Other people are treating you with respect, you treat them with
I am,
respect.
I'm saying that they're liars though.
That's not respect.
Okay. But they did swear
Are
in.
you finished?
No, not yet. They did swear in, and I have documentation I can bring to another meeting, because this was like spur of the moment. I didn't, you know, when I got to my letter and that, I couldn't get everything together. But I have documentation that says that this wasn't their prime spot, and this was the location they were saying.
That's irrelevant, sir.
All right, thank you.
I have a couple questions to the staff here, our zoning staff. Did Mr. Ross come in previously to view any of these site plans?
Yes.
So you said you didn't.
No, I asked them.
You said up here that you didn't. You said you only saw him tonight for the first time.
No, I did not say exactly the first time. I said I didn't see all this stuff. I didn't see all this stuff.
Did he come in and view the site plan?
Yes.
She showed me a blueprint, but I didn't look at it. She said, this is what we have. And I said, can I get a copy of it? And she said, we do not have a copy of it.
My next question. The site A, is it my understanding that the home on that lot is a non-conforming
So yes, that's the
residence?
Yes, the property to the west.
Mr. Reasoner's home is a non-conforming
Yes.
residence on
Yes,
that lot?
his parcel is zone B2, which is general business.
Thank you.
So residential is in the non-conforming.
These are my two questions I have.
Is there anyone else to speak against the appeal? Has anyone got any further comments? Yes, sir?
A lot of things have been said. about me or our company. I just want to clarify something. We were here once before for a site that was in the corner. There was problems with the ground, so we did not pursue, okay? Did I say this is the only and perfect location? I'm not sure if I use those words. The Dollar General kind of does studies to figure out where they should go. They know where they're now. They look down this road. You're right. We want to be on this road. We want to be in this location. So we looked at the sites. The only site that was available that we think was good for this project was where we showed it, okay? We'll talk about drainage real quickly, because we did look at this, and we heard there was concern from the neighbor to the east. This property now sheds from west to east. The water from this non-conforming lot does go off this property, onto this property, onto this property, okay? We're going to continue to accept this property's water. Now, hopefully, when they redevelop, they'll have to take care of their own concerns, but they aren't. So this flows here, and then comes down here. What our plan shows is we're going to have catch basins here, 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 and here to take that water. If you look closer at the blueprints, now I don't know how far we have to go with showing you today, because we have to go through county and storm approval from everybody else. There's a curb along here. So, and not only that, is this pavement is sloped back from there. So it's going to slope back this way, into the catch basins. So theoretically, for the water to run off, there'd be a heck of a storm to go over 6 inches of water. Okay? So we have taken into consideration. There'll be less water on this property tomorrow. I just want to clarify that, because our engineer looks at these things. We look at these things, okay? So that's drainage. I'm not sure what else to say regarding those comments. The other comments are, yes, this property is 138 feet wide. It's a prime piece of property. 138 feet is a hardship, I think, to make this property worth anything. Could you build something else? Could you build a 2,000 square foot? Yeah, but I think you're diminishing the value of the property by building such a small structure. I mean, you know, if there's 25 feet setback here, there's 5 feet setback for landscaping, you have to have a building. I think the fire department wants to be able to get around a building. So when you start adding all those up, you can't make this building narrower. It's very difficult to make it. You can see that we meet all the, when parking there. I'm not sure how you make this building narrower. Could you make it less depth? Yes, but that's not the issue here. The issue is the width, and that's the hardship here. The width is too small to make it. Yes, can you put a smaller building in? Yeah, you can cut this building in half and have a bowling alley maybe, but it sure reduces the value of the property. Now, we're making an application for Dollar General with the rights from the owner. Okay, we don't own the property yet, but the owner knows what we're doing. The owner knows that we want to build here, and he's fine with us presenting, the project. Now, one other thing we could have done to get rid of the size variance, I guess I'd leave that to you. You could zone this B2. We could ask for rezoning. This is already B2, so it's not spot zoning. Okay, make it B2. Build B2, I can build my building without the variance. So, I still, if you wanted to, I could say, okay, let me go back and rezone it B2, ask you if I could zone it. So it'd be B2, B2, B1, and then I don't need the one variance for the, I think it's 2,300 feet greater than the code allows. But I still need that side setback variance. And I think no matter what you do, basically this property would lose a lot of value, which you're taking some person's property away. You're saying, hey, you can only build, 25-foot wide building. Well, I don't know if that's very fair to that landowner. It's not like he subdivided this off. He's stuck here with his property. He wants to develop. And Dollar General, getting back, and I'll go one thing about maintaining lots and things like that, you've got to look at, they are not maintaining that center. That's not theirs to maintain. It's a shopping center to maintain. So, I mean, it's two different, you're talking orange and apples. They own it, they're going to maintain it. They can't control the landlord, the responsible. They can control stuff inside the store, they can't control stuff outside the store. So I guess if there's any other questions you think I need, I wasn't aware an attorney was going to be here tonight, to be honest with you. If you feel that I have to have an attorney to draft up why this meets your requirements, why it is a taking, why it is, should be allowed to variance, I'll do that if you think that's required. That's up to you. Okay, thank you.
Anything from the board?
I'll make a comment. I'm all for business in Plain Township. I think we need all the business we can get. But in my opinion, these variances are way, way, way too much for the size lot. And I guess I have to agree that it's actually overbuilding on that parcel. So I would have to vote against it, even though I do appreciate business.
Have we a motion on the appeal?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. Whereas applicant is Zaremba Program Development LLC, 14600 Detroit Avenue, Suite 1500, Lakewood Avenue, 44107, and owner Thomas and Sally Reesner, 2681 Easton Street, Northeast Canton, Ohio, 44721. Requests the following to construct a 70-foot by 130-foot new commercial construction on the property located at 2681 Easton Street Northeast, parcel number 52-17571. A 2,389 square foot retail space variance, 5,000 square foot permitted, 7,389 square foot requested. 2. A 19.80 foot side yard setback, 25 foot required, 5.2 feet requested. Whereas the applicant or a representative has appeared in person before this board at an adjudication hearing on said application, and the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals has duly considered this application pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 519.14, and now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the following. 1, a 2,389 square foot retail space variance, 5,000 square foot permitted, 7,389 square foot requested. 2, 19.80 foot side yard setback, 25 foot required, 5.2 feet requested.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Michael?
Yes.
Beck?
Yes.
Bruce
No.
McVeigh?
No.
Sutton?
Yes. Motion has carried. Is that correct? Are there any announcements?
We will be having a meeting on September 3rd.
Okay. Do we know how many bills are up?
At this time,
Slated
one.
right now?
There's one appeal slated at this point in time.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. That's what you gotta jump off. Come on.
Roll call vote.
Michael?
Yes, yes.
Beck?
Yes.
Bruce
Yes.
McVeigh? Sutton?
Yes.
No, I'm going to stay here.
This meeting is adjourned at 7:50 p.m.